see such a willingness by the Teachers Association to look at this thing constructively and go into it with an open mind in terms of how we get a better educational product. I think that I was somewhat shocked to learn of some of the problems that we have with top-heaviness in the school system, and where we're spending way too much money on administration and not enough money getting it into the classroom. You know, when we start showing increases in administrative personnel while our per pupil, per teacher ratio is going up, there's something wrong with that scenario. And we've got to figure out a way to turn that back around. Those were the two big points that I came out with.
It does, but my focus for this evening is obviously Monongalia County and that perception of being top-heavy. And I believe the information they shared with us tonight filled in those blanks that were missing for me before I came in here. I was actually only hearing one side of the equation, and this evening added that additional element that I needed to take back to Charleston to be able to work through this, what I want to call a mess right now.
Appreciate it.
Is there anything that you gentlemen want to take back to Charleston to work on? Is like there's something that stood out to you that you feel like could be a possible solution, something to consider in the legislative session?
Well, for me, and I think we mentioned it earlier, the governor has not come out with his agenda. I'm waiting for the governor to come out with what he's going to propose as far as those education issues, whether they deal with the audit or if he has some other mindset. That's what I'm waiting on before I even decide where I want to go with this.
The biggest thing that I thought about, and it's been on my mind, was this business of the local share, where we put up some more money for counties to take home. And we did it for the purpose that they would be able to enhance teacher salaries, especially in some places where those salaries were low, only to find out that nobody used the money for that. Or at least a number of counties that said that's what they wanted to do with it didn't use it for that purpose. My final point was I was just really, really pleased that in looking at Marion County's administrative positions, they seem to be doing a really good job of keeping their administrative overhead down and putting more money into the classrooms. I was really pleased to hear that.
I think what stood out to me was that we're talking about the money and following the money and where it's going. I think we need to start from the basics. I think we need to do work with the money, because we have 3/4 of the state budget goes into education. That's a big chunk of our budget, 3/4 into education, but yet we cannot afford to put the proper materials in for the teachers. We can't afford to give the teachers increases because we don't know where the money is going. So I think what I've learned tonight is that if we follow the money, we put it in the right places, and it is mandated to fill the needs in the school and with the teachers and with the kids, then we'll have the money at the top for all the other things that are needed as far as teachers, pay raises, bringing in new teachers at a salary level we can deal with. You know, we're a small state, we have to understand that. We don't have big cities, so we have a tax base that we have to work with. We know that too. But when you're seeing that you've got an overabundance, maybe on the administrative level, maybe overuse of vehicles and everything else that we use, maybe we need to look at that, recount what we need, and start focusing on where that money actually goes. That's what I think is an important thing and what I've learned from this meeting tonight. But Marion County has done a lot of specific things and have a pretty good board to work with.
Do you think that there are lessons we can take from Marion County to the rest of the state?
Well, I think you can look at how are they saving their money. How are they saving money? Because they're not spending the money like maybe other counties are, but at the same time they're saying they're still 48th in the state. Is that correct? We're 48th in the state, but we're spending the less in Marion County. Is that correct?
48th.
On administrators.
On administrators. Is that correct?
Yeah.
So I think that maybe that's what we can take from there, and that's where I'm going again, is going back to where the money goes, start at the bottom, and it should be mandated out to everything that's needed in the system. If you do that, you can't question, because you know line by line where that money's going.
I think that community schools is a big thing that we need to really look at. The balanced calendar is being discussed statewide. We're more interested in getting the communities more involved, and we think there's no data that says that balanced calendar is any better than what we're doing now. Until that becomes available to us, we're not going to go there.
Right. Just so we're clear, the balanced calendar, that's
like
the year-round school.
That's the
That's the term
buzzword.
they put
It's
on
a
it because
buzzword.
nobody liked year-round school.
Yeah,
Right.
That's the buzzword for year-round school, but it's still
Okay.
180 days, but it's just a different way. Anyway, but we think that we need to get our communities involved and get our kids in the summers. We need to open up our schools and keep our kids involved and we think that's and get community buy-in. Well, that will increase student achievement. We think that the data shows that. That's one big thing I think.
The issue, and that is exactly where's the money going.
And that's Ms. Longstreth was saying.
We're fortunate enough to have ranked 14th in the nation in the amount of money that's spent on our students. Yet our teachers are paid 49th in the nation. I think really I think it was eye-opening for our delegates to see and where in some counties our money is going, which is not toward the classrooms but more toward administrators, administrative salaries, and even in some counties the vehicles, up to 56 fleet of personal cars for administrators to drive around their county, which definitely you can see detracts away from what we as teachers are trying to do, and that's give to our kids.
What are some things that you would like to see happen in the upcoming legislative session to deal with these issues with mismanaged spending and with getting the community more involved in the educational process?
Well, I think one thing that has to happen is we need to study it. I mean, I know we hear all the time we're going to study it, and 5 years later something done. We need to study it now. We need to have all stakeholders at the table. We need to take a comprehensive look at how monies are being spent, county by county by county, and then determine what needs to be done with it. And I think what we're going to find that needs to be done with it is a different form of state aid formula to assure that our tax dollars, which all of us pay, is getting directed toward the school classrooms and not elsewhere.
Because we pay tax dollars as well. We make money. It's our tax dollar. We want to make sure it's as efficient as the next person.
Yeah, I was going to say, Stacey, as Marion County President, is there anything that you'd like to see happening in Marion County specifically?
We do have a pretty good, Board of Education, a pretty good superintendent. It's very easy to work with. I think probably we need more professional development, like every other county. But that's something that we always are begging for. More time to prepare, more money, of course. That's always. But
Yeah, those things are done on the state level.
Right. Well, there's local money too, but we're lucky in Marion County because all the state bill money comes to us. So that was what it was intended for. That's what they're using it for. So we're really lucky in that aspect.
Concerns that you guys have.
Some of the big concerns is really all we've heard about from this statewide audit is top heaviness in our State Department. When you're talking about the money that's released by our legislature and by the State Department, that money is chump change compared to what's released all over the rest of the state. The problem with the audit, the way it was done, there were only 3 counties that were audited within their study, and they did the Goldilocks approach. Basically, they took a big county, they took a medium-sized county, and they took a teeny-weeny county. And really, if you look at it, that's really no way to study what is going on within our state. You can't even compare those 3 counties to one another to form any type of hypothesis about how that money is being spent. What we need to do is take a look at all 55 counties, and the way we're presenting it to do would be at very minimal cost, far less than $750,000 like the governor spent. And to take a look at how our state aid formula is being distributed throughout the state, county by county. Until we do that, we're going to see the same type of results, and I think we proved that pretty much tonight.
I think the audit that they did do had an agenda that wasn't our agenda. It wasn't the agenda that should have been.
Focused upon.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And and it came in. I think that it led to a lot of teacher bashing, which we didn't need in this state at all. So that's just some of the things that came out of it were not going to help the students.